Hi, I'm Jeff Franke. I'm the editorial director of Manufacturing.net. Joined here today with Larry Fusler. Larry is the assembly manager for Toyota Manufacturing. Thanks so much for joining us, Larry.
You're very welcome.
I think we're all familiar with Toyota, but maybe you can talk a little bit about what you do as the assembly manager.
Yes, I'm the assembly manager at our Toyota Indiana plant in Princeton, Indiana. And at in our assembly plant, we produce the Sienna minivan. And then we also produce the Sequoia SUV and the Highlander SUV. So approximately about 150,000 Siennas per year, and about 200,000 Sequoia and Highlanders per year at the Indiana plant. The assembly plant where I'm the manager at for the Sienna production, we have about 700 employees right now. We're getting ready to go through a expansion where we'll take on Highlander production also. So we're hiring currently about 300 employees at our facility. I've been there approximately 17 years. Started in the automotive industry at one of our competitors, but spent the majority of my career with Toyota, thankfully, and learned a great deal in my time there.
Interesting. You know, automotive plays such a pivotal role in the U.S. economy and manufacturing as well. In addition to all the different variables, you're going through an expansion. So I'm assuming there must be a lot of interesting things going on. Maybe you can talk a little bit about some of the areas you're focused on right now and maybe some of the challenges that accompany those things.
Yes, really, now it's we're in the phase of hiring, so onboarding, successfully onboarding our team members to teach them the fundamental skills and teach them the quality expectations and how to use the tools that we have on the shop floor, such as the Andon and our other TPS tools and systems, is very important. But even prior to that, it's the recruiting of those employees. Why do they want to come to Toyota? Why do they want to work there? Why are we an employer of choice? And why do they want to stay there? That is a very big challenge when the unemployment rate is falling now, because there are more choices for employees today. So I think that's our current challenge, is recruiting them, stay, and develop them. Sure. Is definitely our biggest challenge.
There's a lot of talk about the skills gap. We're losing sort of that baby boomer generation with a lot of organic information that they have. And as you mentioned, it's very difficult to replace those folks. Toyota's sort of a leader when it comes to the way they're taking care of their employees. What are some of the things that you've done to sort of address some of those issues surrounding the skills gap?
I think a great example, and you saw it a little bit here yesterday when Leah, our vice president, actually had a presentation on talent development and retention. And I'll use the example with our skilled workforce, which really is primarily our maintenance group and tool and die. So we have developed, if you look at that group particularly, and this is not just in automotive, but it's an aging group. I look at many of our maintenance technicians and leaders, the supervisors and assistant managers and so forth, and you see many of them near, within that 10-year time frame of retirement or potential if they would like to, right? So you see that happening, and for us, we didn't see really the pipeline coming. For that. We'd have some current employees that would go back to school or something and want to be in our maintenance program. But now we've partnered with Vincennes University, and actually we have we call it Earn as You Learn. So they can go into the Vincennes program and train and learn our systems at Toyota and go and actually receive their maintenance certification, two-year degree. They work 2 days a week online, and 3 days they go to school. So they actually earn money, and what they earn actually can pay for their education. And then afterwards, they're not guaranteed a job. We look at various evaluation methods that we use to offer positions. But we've already been hiring some of those members, and they've been very successful. When they take the job, they know what the expectations are. They know how the systems work, so it's been very good for us.
Really solving that at both ends, getting people through and also getting them the training. Great ideas. When you look at U.S. manufacturing as a whole, as we said, automotive is so richly embedded and affects so many other different factors. What are some of the major challenges that you see, or maybe potential solutions out there that people could really leverage in a more productive way?
Yes, actually, I was just speaking to someone about an hour ago. One of the presenters about what I feel is one of the major challenges. And you know, you hear so much about automation, implementing robots, and you know, to decrease cost and increase throughput and so forth. And there's so many different metrics you can use to justify or to those implementations. But I think the challenge is really twofold. You know, in the company itself, in the factory shop floor itself, how do you implement automation and not lose the human touch? So human beings many times can see things or understand things that a robot cannot. Sure. You know, as simple as, you know, a very minute defect on a part that robot may not be programmed to pick up. And you know, systems have improved a lot, so you really got to have a very good evaluation method to really understand when you make those decisions, what are you gaining, what are you losing each time. And then the second part of it is from really an economic and social impact to the community that you're in. So a company, just like an individual, is a member of the community. You know, when they change their workforce and it impacts the community, and the community cannot respond, maybe they don't have the right skill set, changes pay structure, whatever those impacts are, you really got to understand that before you really go in that direction very strong. And how do you work that angle from the front end rather than be in a reactive mode because you made some change on your shop floor?
It's kind of, it's oversimplified, but it's that whole measure twice, cut
exactly,
once,
absolutely.
mentality to things.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you mentioned a couple of great things that have happened here at the American Manufacturing Summit event. What have been some of your biggest takeaways from the last couple days?
I think really, you know, we've had some of the networking's been very good. You know, the presentations are good, but the discussions you have outside of the presentations many times are even better because you gain more insight and perspective. And that's really, for me personally, I want to understand what's the thinking behind the thinking. What's your deep, what are your principles? Where are you really speaking from, and what's your experiences, and what's driving, you know, the changes in your company. But also, you know, I know GE Appliances did a great job with the innovation, and what does innovation really mean? And I think they have some really great things going on where they're some outreach to the community with their first build facility there in Louisville that was just outstanding, where not only do you have innovation, but you're engaging the community at the same time. And that's fabulous.
You mentioned a couple of interesting things there: innovation, community. When you look at U.S. manufacturing as a whole, you know, I always like to ask people, if you could give everybody out there just one thing, you know, what would it be? From your perspective, what would it be?
Well, I think, you know, I kind of mentioned it a little bit earlier, but is really, I'll word this in two answers maybe. One is back to that, having a very good evaluation and assessment of when you apply automation. You know, what's the benefits, what's the pros, what's the cons, and what's your impact to the community in which you're a member of. But also it's that talent, engagement and development. And I think many times when people say that, they think, well, you know, what's my recruitment process from colleges? You know, I'm talking about all the way back in middle school and grade school, right? Where's the kid at that loves tearing things apart and putting them back together, and his calling or her calling is to be a maintenance technician? Or where's the kid that loves to draw out things and design them and build them, and their calling is to be a design engineer? You know, I'm a scout leader, and through many of the activities that we do, I see those things in kids. I see which one, you know, we're doing a Lego robot activity right now. You can pick them out really quick. And how do you draw on their passion, and then how do companies integrate themselves into the communities and actually develop that talent early on?
Well, and encourage it. You know,
yes.
I got in trouble as a kid tearing stuff apart, and you know, we've all been there. It's encouraging that behavior a little bit.
Absolutely.
Larry, thanks so much for joining us today. Great conversation.
Thank you very much.